What's up, team? It's Not Ghost Stories, and we are ranking boss fights from the game Ravenlok, which is a gem of a title, currently on Game Pass and probably other places. Just give it a goog. Shout out Mark Normand. Ravenlok is a fantasy adventure game where you play a young girl thrust into this fantasy fairy tale world that might seem familiar in some places, where you need to go save this area, this kingdom, this dimension from a corrupted evil queen. Things to consider when we are ranking our boss fights: the name, difficulty, and general boss fightiness. Also, spoilers, you have been spoiled officially. Let's get started. First up, we have Flora Esmeralda in 12th position. I give her an F tier right off the bat. In my opinion, somewhat of a boring design. Looks just like an amalgamation of Venus flytraps. The fight zone was okay. I lost her on screen a couple of times because of the camera. Nothing to write home about, in my opinion. Wasn't too difficult on the difficulty scale. Just dash around, toss a couple bombs, you'll be set. Again, I have Flora Esmeralda in 12th place with an F tier rating. Uxak the Glutton I've got at 11th place with an F tier rating. Is it a slug? Is it a turtle? I don't know what's going on. I mainly give Uxak a low rating because of the mechanics. You can dash in a circle the whole fight with no real danger. I stayed super close to the boss the whole time. The fight zone was just okay. It's kind of a boring fight in my opinion. Solid name though, Uxak the Glutton. That was, in my opinion, the only redeeming factor. So that's why I give Uxak an 11th place F tier rating. In 10th place, I have the Woodlock Dodo with a D tier rating. The fighting space is much better in my opinion. It feels like I'm fighting a little bit in the Ravenclaw common room. I like the steampunky look of the area. It's just the design of the boss for me that it's not really doing it. It's a dodo bird with a hat and it's on wheels. I understand it's a fairy tale fantasy game. It's just not for me. The other boss in this area is absolute fire, so I could not rank the Woodlock Dodo any higher than 10th place with a D tier rating. Tweedledee and Tweedledum I have at 9th place with a C tier rating. These characters have been featured in a lot of games and stories over the years, so it's always cool to see a studio's interpretation. The fight space was cool. It's a theater, which plays into the mission. I like the look, the feel. It's the only boss where you're fighting multiple baddies at once. Big hammers are always cool, but the fight was easy. Focus on one, then the other. I would have liked to see some tandem attacks from both, or when they do the whirlwind attack, they actually move around or chase instead of spitting in a stationary location. This is where the bosses start to improve in the game, in my opinion. I'm going to give Tweedledee and Tweedledum 9th place with a C tier rating. Helios the Golden. Halfway through recording this video, I actually realized we left Helios off the list. So push every boss back a position starting at 13 instead of 12. The tier ratings still apply. My apologies. But I'm going to give Helios a 9th place with a C tier because this boss includes, it's got mobs, it's got multiple stages, so it's a little more interesting in terms of the mechanics. The fight space is amazing. It feels like that early Halo 2 mission with all the sniping jackals. You guys know what I'm talking about. By the way, the artwork in Ravenlok is amazing. I think they did a beautiful job with the environments. This fight, again, like I said, has multiple stages. It's got mobs that you have to worry about, so it's a little more interesting mechanically. But the crab, Helios himself, wasn't too challenging, so I'm going to give him a 9th place with a C tier rating. Card Century, 8th place with a B tier rating. Card Century looks straight out of Elden Ring. The fight has mobs. The fight space is cool. It's right outside the final boss's area, so it feels like a big jump in the story. The attacks look cool, and there's a lot of AoE potential. You're hitting the mobs and the boss at the same time, so it puts up a ton of numbers on the screen, which is always fun. Like I said, lots of AoE potential. My only beef with this fight really is that you can kite the boss around this fountain that you're seeing in the middle, and once the mobs are gone, it's pretty easy to avoid damage and just kind of fight and move. So I'm going to give Card Century an 8th place with the B tier. Again, cool-ass boss, cool area. Just wasn't, again, I didn't feel like I was in danger, really, once the mobs went away. And you can use that fountain to your advantage the entire time. At the 7th spot, I've got the Weeping Fungi with a B tier rating. I love the design. The fighting space and stage is really good in my opinion. It's an early boss, so the fight felt a little more challenging. You don't have a lot of potions or bombs at this stage. Your character's a bit weaker, so you really have to pay attention. I think everything's eye-catching. Everything has the neon green. I feel like I'm a warlock from World of Warcraft after I get the the Fel upgrade, and it's just blasting me with all this green fire. I think it's cool. I love a fungus-themed boss. So the Weeping Fungi for me. hit 7th place with a B tier rating. At the 6th spot, we have Queen Drita or Drata. I got her at 6th place with a B tier rating. This is the first stage of the final fight. Spoilers, her scythe weapon is super sick. There's a lot of excitement during this fight because you know you're coming to the end of the game. You're on the last fight. You can feel the energy of coming to the end of the game, getting ready to beat the game. Her movement is really fun and really fast, but as you can see, she doesn't really attack all that often. At this point in the game, you're supposed to be at your most powerful, so I would expect a little more damage output from this stage, this boss fight. But it's pretty easy to kite the queen and use all the columns to avoid big damage. You should have a lot of bombs at this game. You can burn her down pretty quickly since selecting the bombs does pause the game. The big saving grace here is her attack design, in my opinion. Things like the whole room will get dark. She's clearly very powerful. You feel that. You feel in danger, which is important to me in a boss fight. But again, if you spam bombs, should be a quick in and out. So I give Queen Drita or Queen Dreta a 6th place with a B tier rating. Coming in at 5th place with a B tier rating is Eagleblade Prime. This boss is right above the Woodlock Dodo in the game. It's a giant mechanical robot eagle that shoots laser beams out of its mouth. Need I say more? That said, both of the bird fights in this game were fairly easy at this stage. I did complete all of the achievements in the game, did all the side quests, and leveled up to the max. So I may have been over leveled at this point in the game. I wasn't fully leveled yet, but I don't know. If Ravenlok could improve on anything, I would say a difficulty scale. If I could increase the difficulty in this game and just have these fights be 10x harder, I think I would appreciate it a lot more. Not that it's not a great game, and I did enjoy it, but the design of this character is super fantastic. I leave Eagleblade Prime with a 5th place B tier rating. I have Bouvador Bison in 4th place with an A tier. One of my favorite fights and has one of the better mechanics in the game comes from this boss fight. He drops stalactites from the ceiling and traps you in a barrier. You have a short time to destroy that barrier while he charges you. The dropped rock doesn't get destroyed unless he hits it with a charge, so you do have to kite the boss around to destroy those stalactites if you want more fighting space. It's a great mechanic. Bouvador has a great design. It's colorful, it's bright. He's even got a sad story, so you don't want to fight him. You feel a little sorry for him. And it's an early on fight, so it's a little more challenging. Your character is a little weaker. I give Bouvador 4th place with an A tier rating in the game and in my heart. I give Thorlaron the Hydra a 3rd place rating with an A tier, and you ask why he's in a teacup. It's because this game is a fairy tale adventure, so that's what we do. The boss design is awesome. The mechanics were decent. A wall of fireballs is always a good time in any kind of boss fight. I ranked Thorlaron so highly because when he first appeared, I thought, holy Christ, here we go. And that's what I want from a boss fight. I want to feel a little fear even though I know it's a video game. Thorlaron maintains a 3rd place for me with an A tier rating. At 2nd place with an S tier rating, a fantastic design, something truly horrific to look at. Final stage, you're excited you're at the end of the game, just a cool boss. We have Dreta or Drata, Caterpillar Queen, which is the 2nd stage of the final boss fight. She's got a gang of attacks. This gameplay is when I'm fully leveled. Again, I did all the quests, the side quests, leveled up my character to the max, so the damage you're seeing might not be the same damage that the average player might experience. She attacks with all the elements, it seems. I wonder if she actually pulls attacks from all of the previous bosses. I just thought about that. Just a cool final boss. I just really loved the design of this boss. It's like something straight out of Resident Evil or Dead Space or something. Again, I give Drata, the Caterpillar Queen, a 2nd place S tier rating. And in 1st place with an S tier rating is my favorite boss fight in the entire game. It is Shani, the sorceress. She's got unavoidable laser beams. She's got heat-seeking blobs, mobs on mobs on mobs, and flying souls that look like little sperm. It's the perfect fight in this game. Feels evil. It was the hardest fight for me, for sure. You do have to eliminate the mobs, destroy the pillars, just to be able to damage the sorceress. She is immune during this fight unless you follow those mechanics. It straight up looks like a Blizzard boss, a Blizzard character from WoW in my opinion. She's got great design, a great fighting space. My favorite fight in the game, hands down. I have the sorceress as an S tier boss, 1st place rating, and the best boss in the game of Ravenlok. If you've made it this far, I sincerely appreciate your time, sharing your attention with this video. I genuinely enjoyed this game and recommend it. It is free on Game Pass currently. This is the first video I've ever made like this in terms of boss fights and rating boss fights, anything like that. So again, thank you guys for watching. I go by notghoststories, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.